Welcome back to Two Marks and a Spark, right here on Lock 22. Here to talk about a bunch of wrestling. We did talk about last week's Raw last week because of the timing of when we recorded the show. We're recording this at about 5:50 Central Time this week on a Monday night, right before Raw starts. So we are not going to be talking about a Raw show on this episode, but we will be talking about Crown Jewel as well as some pretty troubling news out of TNA. So, and
Yes.
obviously that rancid Dynamite show and a fairly mediocre SmackDown. Uh, and I think that's a good way to put it. Russ, let's start with kind of the top story, I think, in everybody's news feeds today. Chris Bay and El Hijo del Vikingo both carted off the TNA tapings last night, stretchered
Yes.
out. This was not a work. Chris Bay was taken to the hospital and had immediate neck surgery. Um, this was a guy who it really felt like his stock was rising and rising and rising so much. And I don't have an update on Vikingo as of right now. Um, but I do know Chris Bay underwent immediate neck surgery. Scary stuff.
Yes. It sure is.
I don't,
The rest of the taping was discontinued. Yeah, you were telling me. The sign right
correct.
there, it's not a storyline, it's for real.
Yes, it is. It was not a storyline. It was very real. Um, they did the post-show like meet and greet thing that they always do at these TNA tapings right after this, and then everybody went home. Um, or well, whatever home was there. I don't remember where they were taping this weekend, but um, or I would presume my guess would be a lot of people went to the hospital because that's just kind of what you'd expect. Um, TNA's got a lot of injuries right now anyway. Uh,
Yes.
this this is not good, and Vikingo going down for AEW potentially is also not good. Although Vikingo is not really on contract with AEW, he works AAA, he works AEW, he works everywhere. So I don't know, man.
Yeah. It's unfortunate.
It
Just to
really
remind you
is.
that they do some high risk moves have become so common. And it just
It just
reminds us how dangerous those are.
and it reminds you how real this shit can get.
Right.
And Chris Bay is phenomenally talented, and obviously we wish him a full recovery. I'm working on trying to get like confirmed details as to what the hell happened. Um, yeah, so there's no exact details as to what happened. Like, I'm presuming that there was a match going on, probably a tag match, and something went wrong. Now, Vikingo was carted out too.
Mm-hmm.
I think that might have been out of precaution. I don't know. I think it is safe to say whatever happened will not air on TNA television. I have
Yeah, I
such
doubt very much of it will. Interesting to see what they do for TV this week.
I mean they've had TV this week in the can for a couple weeks. So they're not worried about that. And as far as I understood it, well, I don't know very much. I would have to believe that whatever they were taping was the main event of what they were taping. So that's probably why they were able to cut the taping off because it was the main event of whatever episode they were on. And
Yeah.
no, they didn't tape as many episodes, but they were able to say, okay, that's the end of this episode. We can cut it here, come back another day
Yep.
and do the next one. But, you know, really scary situation there.
Very much.
All right. no real way to transition out of that easily, so let's just move right along here. Let's talk about last week's Dynamite. I thought this show was awful.
You mean you didn't like the ladder war between Mark Briscoe and the learning tree? You didn't think that was a spectacle? Yeah, it was a spectacle, all right. Yeah,
That,
yeah,
that
it was kind
was
of a crappy show. Um, we had some good talent, but overall, it just didn't seem to go anywhere.
actually this show started pretty all right. It was Sammy Guevara and Shelton Benjamin.
Right. Last week we got to see him beat up Leo Rush, and this week he had a pretty good match with Sammy Guevara. Shelton
Is he
Benjamin's looking very good. It was the highlight of the show, as far as I'm concerned.
is Shelton Benjamin's role in this company just beating up assholes backstage?
I so far he seems to be doing good, and he's looking good.
Because that might be his actual job at this point.
Right. I was surprised to see the Elite actually lose a match, unless
Well,
my memory's deceiving me.
hang on. Yes, the Garcia and Private Party did win. That was later on in the show, though. We'll get there.
I'm sorry. I got my what I got here is out of chronological order, believe it or not. Just like the way my brain works sometimes.
Well,
Out of
mine too. Let's
okay.
talk about this goddamn ladder war match. I'm gonna skip the whole Lance Archer squash and the Don
Yeah,
Callis thing.
that's the thing. We had too many squashes in this show. It reminded me of an old WWF Superstars taping. You know, we had two smash matches that were over in a matter of seconds. Yeah, that's too much for one show.
Oh, and then we had a ladder war match that was among the worst things I've ever seen in my life.
And it was for the Ring of Honor title.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. World
So
Championship.
this
New,
thing,
I don't think Chris Jericho didn't he have the Ring of Honor world title once before?
yes, and it was
Okay, I
horrible.
thought that was after AEW. Okay, that's what I thought. He never had any involvement with Ring of Honor before Tony Khan owned it.
No.
Okay,
Now the match itself, Mark Briscoe actually dug a half decent match out of Jericho for 5 minutes.
yeah, I see him carrying a lot of guys. Jericho's one of them.
Now Mark Briscoe is more than capable of carrying to a good match,
Hmm.
especially when a guy knows what to do in the ring. And for all of Jericho's faults, he does know what to do in there. You know what I mean?
Yes, he does.
But this match just did not work. And the finish was terrible because Big Bill at one point throws Jericho on his shoulders and carries him. I'm not kidding, folks. Carries Chris Jericho up the fucking ladder. The crowd is dead quiet. They don't understand what's
Oh,
going on.
this was really, yeah. Well, it's like the old saying they used to talk about when Fonzie jumped the shark, the show was over. This is kind of the same thing.
I'm not kidding you. The crowd died about 6 minutes into this match. What did it go, like 12?
Yeah.
Something like that. I don't have a time in front of me. I don't care. Um,
Yeah.
so
However long it went, it was too long, actually.
finally, when this match ends, the crowd just doesn't care anymore. And then Jericho wins the world title and they start fucking booing.
Yes. Then they finally got involved enough to boo him.
And they were not, and it was not, heel heat. It was go away heat. It was
Right.
nuclear. It was we don't want you here anymore heat.
Yes. And so far, the only thing that's been great on the show has been Shelton Benjamin, and we're over
Which are we
halfway
surprised?
now, and we're over halfway through the show, and it's not unusual for AEW to have their opening match be the best thing on the show. We've talked about that before, and it's like they put their best thing on first, and then it's downhill all the way from there.
I mean, have they put together complete shows before? Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. To say they haven't would be false, but it's been a while.
Well, then we get House of Black, who are absolutely great, but it is meaningless throwaway squash match against three people that nobody cares about. And we just got done in the last hour seeing the squash match with Brian Cage and Lance Archer. So the cynical side of me starting to think, is Vince McMahon writing this shit?
His son might be. I wouldn't be that surprised. Anyway, then we had Queen Aminata and Camille.
We know Manata, she's impressive. I think she's getting better. Her star is
Camille is
on the
really
rise.
good. Camille is really good. I don't know what the hell happened here. This was not
Yeah,
that
Camille
good.
did win this, but this was a little bit of a sluggish match, wasn't it? Sort of a sluggish start.
Yeah, but having watched Camille's work in other companies, this did not feel like her type of match. For as tall as she is, she can move. So I don't know what the hell the booking was here to have it be this slow, sluggish thing
Was she
that
in she in TNA?
she was in the NWA
NWA, okay.
before it got really, really
But
messy.
not using the name Camille, was it?
Yeah, she was.
Okay, all right.
Um,
But I thought I recognized her because of those great big broad shoulders of hers. I mean, she's very impressive physically.
do you remember when Layla Hirsch was still on AEW television?
Yes.
Those two had a match during the pandemic, and it was a very good match. And I just I don't know what they were doing here. Yeah, there was some misses and some stuff that just shouldn't happen. So
Yep.
we then got the reveal that it was Christian Cage who attacked Taz.
Yes. And the review was not the most it didn't unroll in the clearest way, you know what I mean? But we did get the idea.
Well, by the way, throughout the entire process of this show, they had put the baby faces in the fucking parking lot.
Yes, that's right. They're standing out there waiting for John Moxley and his buddies riding around in the back of the pickup truck, driving around the desert, riding in the back of a pickup truck because they hate AEW and everything it stands for. And that's what you do when you hate AEW. You drive your pickup truck out in the desert.
Well, if there
Makes
was a
sense,
way to
doesn't it?
bury an entire roster faster, I'm not sure what it was
Yeah.
because not only were they standing out in the parking lot waiting, but Moxley and the whole Blackpool Combat Club or whatever you want to call them now just walked right in.
Yep, they sure did. No problem at all. None.
I could not believe this. And then we had our main event, if you want to call it that. Jack Perry and the Young Bucks against Daniel Garcia and Private Party. This match
Correct.
was actually pretty good for what it was.
Yes, and I was surprised that the Bucks did not win. But I don't know what they're doing, but they're doing something a little different.
This match kind of ended in a fucking shit show.
Yes,
Castagnoli and Wheeler go after Private Party.
right.
Chuck Taylor and Orange Cassidy were out there, and they get dragged around.
Correct. That's right. They're dragging him around. And Willer Yuta, he's going through this emotional crisis where he does these horribly evil things. He tries to choke the guy to death with the plastic bag, and then he goes and he lies. He looks all downcast and like, oh, I can't believe I did it to my friend. I don't
I
know. I'm not quite sure what they're going for.
so anyway, if AEW could have buried their entire locker room any faster, I don't know how.
Yeah.
They did it with TNA like efficiency.
Yes,
We're
it did.
talking Vince Russo TNA like efficiency here
Well, they got a few more weeks until they get to
to Full Gear.
well, they got almost a month to build up to full gear. Now let's see if they got a whole month now to really invest these storylines with some exciting development and some real emotion to hook the people
We
to
still do
get.
not know who is wrestling John Moxley.
Nope, we sure don't.
Do you want to know my guess? And
Guess
you can make a guess too.
who?
My thought right now is it's Orange Cassidy.
Yeah, it could be.
Now, I don't know if you remember this. Those two had a very good match not too many years ago on
Yeah,
pay per
and he
view.
was the one at the end of the big meltdown at the end of the show on Dynamite. He was hanging around there. He always is hanging around there wherever Moxley's involved. So
It seems like they're making him into a more serious character. And I don't think you have a problem with that because Orange Cassidy's a very good worker with a stupid gimmick.
yes, yep, absolutely.
Let's talk about SmackDown a little bit, and then I do want to talk about Crown Jewel because that is this week, and I
Well,
haven't watched
yeah,
wrestling in
SmackDown was
years.
all right. I thought it was better than Dynamite. I enjoyed it more, but it wasn't as good a show last week as Raw was.
No, Raw was the best show last week, far and away.
But we did get a couple of, well, let's go ahead and talk about SmackDown. I forget, how did they start? Was it the
Randy
Carmelo
Orton comes
Hayes?
out and demands match with Kevin Owens at Crown Jewel.
Correct. And then he says, nope, you're not going to get it. You're not going to get it. And it's never going to happen. And then it's like, do you know what you're asking for? This was,
Triple H,
it was interesting that to see Triple H on TV.
I actually appreciated how they used Hunter here because Triple H doesn't like being on TV anymore, but this was the perfect spot to use him.
Yes.
And they
And,
did
it,
end
and
up
he,
finally agreeing to make the match.
well, I thought the promo was good too because, it brought to our remembrance some of the events of years past when a young Randy Orton was getting his ass beat by a Triple H. Back with way back when they had that falling out with what the hell was that group? Evolution or
Yeah,
Legacy or
whatever the hell it was.
Evolution, I think it was.
It was Evolution.
Yeah,
Randy, I'm in a penny in the middle of the ring with a
that's right.
fucking sledgehammer.
Well, I tell you what, I'll at least when Triple H is on TV now, he knows how to do shorter promos. When he was champion, his promos went on too long all the time.
I shit you not. When Hunter was on top, he would come out, cut a promo, have a match, and cut another fucking promo.
A long-winded one too. Yeah, he
His
got away
promo,
with it for some reason.
his promo before the match was usually something like, "I'm gonna kick this guy's ass."
Right.
And then he'd do that. He'd bury the guy. And then after the match, he's like, "See ya. I kicked the guy's ass.
That's right. I just think that guy nuts, like I said I would.
I love Ric Flair."
Yep.
And then we had Andrade and Carmelo Hayes again.
Match number 7. Best of
Yeah, that
7. They're tied up 3-3. Oh my gosh, what's going to happen? As soon as they brought in,
LA Knight.
what's his old slap nuts here for, I'm sorry. I mean, Eli Drake for, I called him slap nuts there for, uh,
That's
my
fine.
mind is back in TNA. Uh, as a
What
guest
year of TNA?
referee, I knew that there was going to be a screw job finish.
What year of TNA, if you don't mind my asking?
What's that?
Which year of TNA? 2006?
Oh yeah,
2005?
probably yeah, at least. Yeah, yep. Well,
Or,
hey,
or
did you realize that TNA, much to everyone's amazement, has been around longer than ECW lasted? And as of this year, I think they've been around longer than WCW officially.
yeah, I could
TNA is a
say.
survivor, whatever you want to say about them.
I
But anyway, Carmelo
That
versus
company
Andrade.
outlived Ring of Honor. Think about that. That company outlived Ring of Honor
Yes, they did.
twice.
Yep.
Anyway,
Yeah, and it wasn't a very long match either.
it was good for what it was, but it ends in a no contest. So I presume we will see an eighth match between these two.
I think they're going to do a 3-way at Crown Jewel.
Well, I still think we're gonna get Andrade and Carmelo again.
Oh, I think we have to, especially if Numbnuts retains the title.
What did he have
L.A.
against?
Knight. Why can't remember L.A. Knight? I can't remember his name.
I don't know, but it's kind of funny. Naomi and Candice LeRae
Correct.
was next.
Yes. Dennis
This was
LeRae back from injury.
this was something, I guess. Uh,
It was all right for what it was.
Naomi beat her. No surprise there.
Okay, and then here comes my favorite part of the show.
And here's where the show gets fucking wild. I
That's
mean, this
right.
show just
I can't believe the WWE is finally pulling the trigger on a team like Motor City Machine Guns. If Vince McMahon were running the company, they never would have hired a team that were successful veterans from the indie circuit. It never would have happened. But at this point, they're bringing something really positive to SmackDown.
um right before this we did get a Cody Rhodes Gunther promo. It was pretty much the same as every other Cody Rhodes Gunther promo.
Yeah, I skipped over that. Sorry about that.
It was not great. Anyway, do you want to know what the weird part of this whole thing was? So, this show was a snooze fest for most of the first hour outside of the Randy Orton segment. And then the show just went completely off the rails and somebody started doing drugs backstage and started rewriting the show, I'm pretty sure, because what the hell happened here? Uh I swear it was a fever dream. So it was not Gunther. It was Motor City Machine Guns and DIY
Right, and it was a great match.
for the tag titles. And
It
this
was
was
it was
everything you
it was
wanted
a
it to
great
be.
example of some of the best guys in the modern style tag match.
This was everything you wanted it to be, plus probably a little bit more. It's this awesome fucking match. And you're probably thinking the same thing I was the whole time. There is no fucking way
Right,
they're about to have the guns win the win the fucking
never
title.
expected it.
You probably thought had the same thought I did, which is There is no way the fucking Guns are winning this match.
right?
The
I
poor
they know. I
bastards.
said they've only been in the company 2 weeks. They're not gonna. No way they're gonna win and become the number one contender.
And
But
then
guess
they
what?
beat DIY, and I'm like, what? Whoa, 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 what? So they're the number one contenders, and then they immediately challenge Tama Tonga and Tongaloa, and I'm thinking, what the fuck is going on?
Yes. And this is where I thought, well, they'll lose and they won't. They'll go to the back of the line and start over at the bottom like they're supposed to.
You thought this show would return to sanity, is what you're
Right?
saying. Would
Nope.
return to normal at some point. During this whole thing, by the way, I think you had to feel like you were on drugs because I certainly did. I was sober. It did not feel like it by the end of this show
Oh, I hear you, man.
because so much happened at the end of this show and it was all at once. So, Tamatonga and Tongaloa against the Guns. This was a much shorter match, but it was still very good. Jimmy Uso shows up and attacks Solo and Jacob. Roman Reigns comes down, and it's Roman and Jimmy against Jacob and Solo on the ramp. Meanwhile, there's a whole effing match going on in the
Yes.
middle of the ring. The ref goes down. Out comes a guy in a mask. He takes out the Tongans with a fucking chair.
Yes.
We later find out that was Jey Uso. More on that in a minute. This whole thing was a goddamn mess. Saban and Shelley take advantage and beat the Tongans. We have new tag champions, and it's the Motor City fucking Machine Guns.
Yes. Absolutely amazing. I was surprised, but yeah, very, very exciting.
By the way, what a rub to have Roman Reigns interfere in your title match, your second week in the company. What a
Exactly.
rub.
Very much so.
How do you think Hunter explained this?
I
Here's how
don't
I picture
know.
to Saban and Shelley. Here's how I pictured him saying it. Listen, guys, you're gonna go out there, and you're gonna wrestle Gargano and Ciampa, and I want you to make them look like shit, like total fucking
Right.
shit,
Yep.
and then to make them look even dumber, I want you to call out the Tongans, and then beat them. Of course, it won't be clean because we got to have a way to get the titles off you guys, you know.
That's right.
Uh,
Well, anyway, I'm as excited to see the machine guns there.
And then when you lose the titles, I'm gonna send you back to fucking TNA.
There you go.
Oh God. Do you like my Triple H impression?
I think it's pretty darn good. Hey, by the way, it's Halloween time. Here we're going to see sometime here coming up this week on probably on SmackDown, maybe tonight. We're going to see the Boogeyman backstage scaring people because it's Halloween.
I
And
don't blame you.
the rumor online was that the Boogeyman was seen at around the place there where they were taping things. So horrible wrestler,
Great
ridiculous,
gimmick.
ridiculous gimmick that somehow he made it work. And you did not watch Collision, I assume.
I had paint to watch dry.
Okay. Well, Jay White did beat Shane Taylor. That was actually a good match.
Wait, Jay White won a match on AEW television? I'm
Yeah, Jay
sorry?
White and he beat Shane Taylor. And let's see. Oh, the M&M collection versus the Outrunners.
Oh,
Yeah.
Russ, before we wrap this up,
Yes,
I do
sir.
want to I do want to talk about Crown Jewel because that is this weekend.
Yes. Let's talk about the matches and make our predictions.
So have Jade and Bianca against Damage Control, which is Io and Kyrie, Lash Legend and Jakaro Jackson, as well as Chelsea and Piper in a four-way tag match. Jade and Bianca are going to win this fucking thing.
Yeah, I assume they did. Although I think the best team is Damage Control, the best technical team. I think you would agree, wouldn't you? In that group.
Yes, but I think the most entertaining team is Chelsea and Piper because Chelsea Green is
Oh
fucking
yeah,
hilarious.
definitely. Chelsea, and Piper are very, very entertaining. I love them both.
Then we have, as you said, Carmelo Hayes, Andrade, and LA Knight for the US title. I would presume LA Knight wins this, but I would not be surprised if they pull the trigger on old Carmelo Hayes there.
Yep, they
Or
might.
Andrade. Then we have Kevin Owens and Randy Orton. Right now, this does not have a stipulation. I presume it will by the end of it. Um,
Oh yeah,
I would be surprised if this doesn't start the show. Yeah, that's just a guess. I haven't heard anything, but that wouldn't surprise me. And this is a 50-50 match. I think Kevin Owens probably wins, but I could see a world where they let Randy win just because they're in Saudi. What do you think?
yep. I think so too.
Bronson Reed and Seth Rollins. I hope Bronson wins this.
I do too. It
I'm
would make
picking
sense.
I'm picking Seth Rollins, but I hope Bronson wins. Who's your
No,
pick, Russ?
I would pick Bronson Reed also.
And then we have the two Crown Jewel Championship matches. God damn it. I hate this shit. So first we have the Women's Crown Jewel Championship, which is Liv Morgan versus Nia Jax.
Nia Jax is probably going to win it, but I wish Liv Morgan would. Neither one of them is really being given a really super exciting title reigns. You know?
Liv's has been much better than Nia's.
Yeah, but neither one of them has been really stellar. But I predict Nia Jax will win that. How about you?
Unfortunately, I agree with you.
Yeah,
And then the what I fucking presume is the main event of this show for some godforsaken reason. Cody Rhodes and Gunther for the men's crown jewel title.
right. Gunther wins easily. Should.
There's
Award.
rumors there's rumors Bill Goldberg is going to interfere in this match.
That would not surprise me. That seems like the kind of a guy that would get over with a crowd like that. And I can only speak for myself. I have nothing against the man personally. I just don't want to see him wrestle. I don't want to see him in a wrestling ring at all, period. Ever.
Nor do I. I'm picking Cody, but I will not be surprised if Gunther wins. If
Yeah.
Goldberg does not interfere, I think Gunther is winning. If Goldberg does interfere, fucking who knows, brother.
Yeah.
Goldberg himself could win this match. Uh,
Stranger things have been known to happen.
or we could do a WrestleMania 9 angle where
Right.
Gunther wins and then Goldberg comes down and then immediately challenges him for the belt and immediately beats him.
Right.
Do I
Because
think they're going to?
because Mr. Fuji threw sand in his face, in his eyes, right?
Well, I don't think Mr. Fuji's going to show up at this show.
Well,
Uh,
probably not. I think he's dead.
I think you're right.
But yeah,
Uh,
I remember he was part of the reason why, and the big Hulkster along also was part of the reason why, in my opinion, WrestleMania 9 will go down as history as the absolute worst WrestleMania of all, period. Right there at Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas, Nevada. It was a stinker of a show. That's the one where he also got Undertaker versus Giant Gonzalez.
It was horrible.
Yeah, it was bad. Well, it's it's going to be an interesting show there. The Crown Jewel. I might need some Crown Royal to get through it.
Russ, maybe don't drink too much Crown Royal because we're going to be recording a show right after.
Okay, I would like to do that right afterward.
Well, we
I
will.
won't. I won't imbibe the heavy and of the heavy stuff until after we're done speaking to the public. I wouldn't want to say anything that would be untoward.
Russ, say something untoward.
Yeah, I wouldn't
Never.
want to. I wouldn't want to offend somebody's, sensibilities and all that bullshit.
I could not believe that Dynamite show. Just to wrap up here, I could not believe that Dynamite show. I mean, that was TNA booking. That was Vince Russo booking.
Yep. I thought, I seen him standing out there in the parking lot, and it made me think of the NWO invading WCW, brother, 20 years ago,
Un
brother. But
unbelievable.
give Tony Khan credit. He's still got almost a month to make this into a fascinating must-watch show. Let's see if he pulls it off.
Do you trust Tony Khan to do anything?
Ah, well, I don't know. He's pretty good at spending money.
That he is. All right, folks, we're going to get out of here. Everybody have a great rest of your week. This show's probably going up on Tuesday. I would presume maybe Wednesday. I don't know. I'm going to send it to where it needs to go, and it's going to go up when it goes up. But, folks, go check out Lock 22 Sports Daily. That's every day, Monday through Friday. We didn't have a normal show today. Normally, it's a 30-minute show. I think today's was an hour because we recorded it Saturday night. Uh, as of Monday. By the time you see this, there's probably a new show up that was a regular episode that follows the normal format. But go check out Russ. What do you got to plug, brother?
What's that? The
Aren't
plug?
you doing to plug? Aren't you doing that politics show?
Yes. Yes. Well, with the Dave Marr show, we'll be talking about political issues that will be recorded tomorrow night. Also, you're doing the daily sports update, correct?
Right. That
Monday through
that's what
Friday.
I was. That's what I was just talking about. Yeah.
Oh, yes. Excellent. Yep.
And
And
then
it keeps you busy.
also go check out my Twitch streams over at twitch.tv/BenGames99. That's about all we got, folks. Like, comment, subscribe. If you're on the TikTok, be sure to follow. You know the deal.
Yes.
Everybody have a good week. See you soon. Damon,
Yep.
play the music.